Welcome to Death and Aliens, an in-depth look at horror and sci-fi TV from two friends who vaguely know what they're doing. I'm Courtney,
And I'm MK.
and how are ya?
You know, I am thriving like emotionally right now because I'm planning a bunch of trips. And so like
Ooh,
despite the fact that like I really don't have any money and I hate my job at the moment and I don't want to like continue being an adult, um
sure.
I talked about going to Pittsburgh. Um and then and that's in April. And then in May, I'm going to Columbus, Ohio, for the to see the Egyptologist because that's I'm dating
Right,
Daniel Jackson. Um,
right.
and then this summer, I'm going to the UK.
What?
Yeah, Dan's cousin and her husband he's originally from the UK and they got married in 2021. So there was still a lot of travel restrictions. So other than his parents, none of the rest of his family was there. So they're
Mhm.
doing a vow renewal in the UK
Where at?
at Birmingham.
Okay.
But we're gonna go to Birmingham for the wedding, but then we're gonna go to London and Cardiff. So,
How fun. Oh, I'm so jealous.
and
I need,
he said something about how he didn't know if we should try to go because of money. And they go, but if we don't go to London this summer, how are you going to propose to me in London and make all my dreams come true? And he just started laughing at me. And I was like, I'm like, not kidding though. And then like a week later, he was like, so we really need to start planning out what we're going to do and how long we're going to be places whenever we go to the UK this summer. And I was talking to my sister last night and I go, so Brie, she goes, so when is your ring date? I go, well, this is a conversation we had. And so I'm going to go with July.
I love it. I love
Yeah.
it.
So,
Very exciting.
you know, all of this is just imaginary. And I'm going to come back from the trip in the summer and still be fucking very unengaged. And then you guys will get to hear me bitch about it.
Great. Can't wait. Can't wait.
It's fine. How are you?
I am fine. I am hungry still,
Oh
as I was
no.
last episode. Um, just fine. I am theoretically planning trips in my head.
Okay.
So I'm supposed to be going to potentially going to a conference in LA a couple of weeks. So, gotta
Yeah.
figure out if that's happening or not. But regardless, I am going to New Orleans that weekend because one of my best friends, actually, I think Vicky's the one who recommended Bates Motel, and she's getting
Yeah.
married on the 25th. So
That's my birthday.
I know. And then I'm coming back early on the 26th because that's Ryan's birthday, and we're going somewhere fun. I don't remember. He was telling
Okay.
us. We did happy hour yesterday for
Very nice.
my office, and he was telling us this big plan for his birthday, and I Governor's Island, maybe one of the islands that I haven't been to over here.
Very nice.
So
For my birthday, I will be spending the afternoon on an online virtual baby shower for my friend Sarah, and then I will be going to work.
love it.
Yeah.
That's great.
Well, so what happened was Dan has a conference on my birthday, and he kept like making like talking about how he was the worst boyfriend ever because he wasn't going to be able to spend my birthday with me. So I decided to be really petty and childish to prove a point. And I am now working 4 shifts at Shay's on my birthday weekend just to prove the point that adults sometimes are busy on birthdays and that's not how life works. And my mom was like, so then after you're done proving your point, when you work that whole weekend and you don't have a break, I don't want to hear a fucking word.
Same, same. Because I will talk to you that Monday, and I also would like to say the same for the record.
Yeah. So,
And
just
I, I am also potentially planning a trip with Rachel this summer
Ooh,
because since I went and did my thing for my 30th birthday, she wants us to do like one of the Virgin Voyages cruises together for her birthday and
very
then
nice.
celebrate like our 30th together, even though, mine
Yeah,
happened. But
yeah,
like, so we were looking today and they're doing like a deal where you pay for the first person, the second person 50% off through like March 31st.
very nice.
And so I think we're gonna look into that.
Very nice.
And I signed my renewal lease. I had a panic attack this week. Let me tell you about that. Completely forgot. Very stressful day. Um, this is very quick. So the first was Wednesday,
Yeah.
and this was Tuesday, Thursday. Who knows? I think it was Tuesday, the day I was going to work. Um, and everyone, oh yeah, because I worked from home for a snow day. Everyone was moving out of my apartment building. Like there were bags lined up on the sidewalk, lined up in the like laundry room. And I was like, what? And then I realized my lease is up at the end of March. And I was like, I haven't gotten my renewal lease yet. I was like, are they kicking everyone out of the building to remodel because they're still working on the building across the street? I
Yeah.
was like, are we about to like all get kicked out? I was like, what's happening? And I'm panicking
Yeah.
naturally.
Of
Like,
course.
and so I email my landlord and I'm like panicking and getting ready for work, etc. And then like 2 hours later he emails me back. He's like, hey, I was just thinking about you. I was just about to reach out. It just changed. It's gonna go up like $50. If that's okay, I'll send you the new release over. I was like, I would pay $7 million for you to respond to me. So yes, $50 is fine. I didn't tell him
Yeah.
that, obviously. I'm not a crazy person. But so I have signed my lease for another year. So
Good.
here I'll be if
She
you need
said,
me.
I would spend $7 million for you to respond to me. Oh man.
That's how I felt on Tuesday. But yeah, you know what helps us in these trying times of panic attacks about non things that should not be panicked about
Yeah.
um, is our inspiration and affirmation, or however you choose to define it.
All right. This one is a little bit long, but it says, sometimes we get so caught up in life that we forget that we don't always have to be busy. We don't always need to be checking our email or rushing to the next thing. We need to remind ourselves that it's okay and absolutely necessary to slow it all down, to take a break and enjoy nature, to turn off the TV and simply be together, to enjoy a game of cards, to ask our kids what they're wondering about, to call our parents, to watch the sunrise, to enjoy the smell of a burning candle. We must never forget to enjoy the little things because they are never as little as we think. Nikki Vanis.
And that's how I felt about Wednesday night with my working on the music video with Caitlin. We had a candle burning, we all had birria tacos, and we just sat around and just talked to each
Yeah.
other. And it was so nice. It was so
Yeah.
nice.
Yesterday, was my dad's birthday, and we went out to dinner. And then we came
Oh
home
yeah,
and we
happy
had cake.
birthday.
Okay, thanks, I'll tell him. We had came home and we had ice cream cake, and we like video chatted with my sister, and we talked on the phone with my brother. And I was gonna watch the Stargate episodes, like the Stargate and Bates episode, but then I was like, I just had such a good time just like with my family, not panicking about anything and like enjoying being alive, and drank a margarita and I had ice cream cake and I went to bed early. Like, and I was
Oh,
like,
love that.
yeah,
It's so nice.
it
Oh,
is.
you know what's not very nice, but I also love?
Bates Motel. Not nice is
Absolutely.
not a word I would ever use to describe this show.
No,
Especially
it's
because it
not.
especially because it has ruined things for me. Because like I said, my parents are watching SEAL Team, and Max Theria's on that show, and I keep being like, oh, in that one episode where Dylan, shit, what's his name in that show? And my mom's like, Clay. I'm like, yes, where Clay was doing that thing. Like, and I'm like, his name is not Dylan. Like, the actor's name is not Dylan. The character in that show's name is not Dylan. I will call him Dylan forever. This is not even the first thing I've
100%.
ever seen him in.
Right. Doesn't matter. He
Doesn't
is
matter.
Dylan forever now.
Right, because Dylan is perfect. I will
Yes,
probably also
100%.
call Nestor Cabanel Alex Romero for the rest of my life. Yeah, so
Absolutely. Yeah. Freddie Highmore and Vera Farmiga, though, they are themselves. They
yeah,
will
no,
not be
they're
Norma and
fine.
Norman forever.
But I think it's because of the emotional attachment to Dylan and Alex that doesn't exist with
I
Norma and
think so.
Norman.
I think so. And also, I did like super know both of them before this show.
Right,
So, like,
exactly. I
it's
mean,
fine.
it will be difficult to go change Reinhurst back to Reinhurst and not Chick Hogan though. But
Yes.
that's just because Chick Hogan's such a great name.
Right. So great. He should just change his name. Um, that's what he should be doing.
Yeah.
So today, and after today, we only have 2 episodes left. Can you I'm more awake now than I was the first recording, so sorry. Sorry about it. My energy has made it to today.
It's fine.
Um, we watched Bates Motel, season 5, episode 8, The Body. It aired April 10th, 2017. It was rated 8.7 out of 10.
Okay. I don't like that. I don't like that last week's was higher than this.
I agree. I think I have thoughts about it, and I think it's because of how much this episode moved around and didn't stay as focused as some of the other episodes. But I really liked that about this episode.
Yeah.
But I think that maybe that's why.
I can see that because it was a lot choppier, but it's getting to the end of the season and there's so many pieces that we have to put back together and I don't know.
No, I thought it went really well though. Like I thought it
Yeah.
was really good. Um, but yeah, so it is what it is. I mean, 8.7 is still pretty high, but
Yeah.
I agree. It should have been higher than last week, or at least same as. Um, number one song, number one movie, still the same. Shape of You, Fate of the Furious. And then the number one book is new. We've left the shack. It is
Okay.
now Mississippi Blood by Greg Isle. I
Okay.
have not heard of the book. I meant to look it up. I did not look up the book. So
Okay. I have not
I'm
heard of it
sure I would love
either,
it.
so I am not in way to any position to help you out on that one.
Great, great. Couple things happened on this day. Banner Thomas, who was the bass player for Molly Hatchet, died at 63. And also it was the film premiere for Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2.
Very nice.
What are your thoughts on Guardians? Did you enjoy it?
Yes.
I love Guardians. I've heard so many mixed reviews from people because they're like, it doesn't fit into the universe. I'm like, it does, but in a different way. Like,
No,
it's just a different
it does.
style.
People who don't like Guardians are people who don't have never read Marvel comics. Like,
Yeah, I mean, okay, I haven't read,
no, but like
but
it's
I
people
like
who are
it.
people who are expecting the Marvel universe to like be something that it only is in the film universe. Like that's one of the things that I like about Disney Plus and the way that they're doing like all these like little mini Marvel TV shows and like some of the cartoons that like we just started watching Moon Girl and the Devil Dinosaur, which is very,
How is
very,
it?
very, it's adorable. It's very, very much directed at little kids. Like it's meant for like 5-year-olds.
Yeah.
But it's adorable and it's funny and it's based on a real comic book. Like and there's so much more to comic books than people like want
No,
to
of course.
believe or know about. And so no, Guardians isn't your Captain America, Iron Man, Thor. Like that's not what it is.
Right.
But I love it.
I also
The
love it.
the Guardians holiday special where they kidnap Kevin
Mhm.
Bacon as a Christmas
I haven't
present.
seen it.
Okay, well, that's the whole premise of the thing. That
Yes,
doesn't
I did.
spoil anything, but they kidnap Kevin Bacon. That's the whole premise of the holiday special. And it is the funniest thing I've ever seen in my life. Like, I just laughed for the solid 35 minutes of
I love
the
that.
of it.
Ugh, I gotta watch it.
Yeah.
So good.
It's now March. Christmas was a while ago.
We're not talking about that.
Okay.
I don't need to discuss dates or anything. Dates in reality. Just we're at April 10th, 2017.
Right.
Not even in the right year
Right.
anymore.
I don't remember April of 2017. What day did Jamie and Caitlin get married? What is
The
their
20th.
anniversary? The 20, yeah, okay, so I don't know. I was not in the state of Louisiana yet at the 10th. I
It's
don't
just a
know.
weird place
Yeah.
mentally.
Yeah.
Maybe physically. I've not lived in New Orleans this time. Like,
Right.
yeah,
Yeah, no, but that because that was a weird place because I went from Germany and then I was only home for like 2 weeks before I left for New Orleans. So like those 2 weeks I don't remember.
yeah, that's fair. You probably were
Yeah,
asleep.
probably.
Our director is Freddie Highmore.
Right.
The
Love it.
writers are the same. No, no
Good.
news. The editor is Cedric Nairn Smith, who is known for Moon Knight. Speaking of Disney
Speaking
Plus
of
shows,
Marvel, speaking of Disney Plus Marvel shows that don't really fit what you think that they're supposed to fit.
right, but also really good. Um, The Boys
Okay.
and Lacey's Story, and
Who?
then Bates. Lacey's Story. I think it's on Apple TV Plus. It's a newer
Mm,
show.
okay.
But yeah,
Never heard of
those are the
it.
things he's known for. I think I've
All
heard
right.
of it in passing, but I don't know it.
Okay.
Our guest star is actually a guest star this week, which is nice. Natalia Cordova Buckley, who plays Julia Ramos, no.
So, yeah.
And she is known for The Mosquito Coast. She played Frida Kahlo in Coco. She's known
Oh,
for Winning Time
fantastic.
and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Okay.
because we are marveled out today. Full Marvel
Yeah.
Day, because why not?
Why not?
And we start this episode um, with Norman closing his eyes while the sheriff's questioning him. And he is just like trying to dissociate, but not leave his body. It is
Right, but also like he's trying to not dissociate at the same time. Like he's like trying to
right,
like yeah, he's like I can't be here right now, but if I leave then Norma is here and I don't want that either and I don't know what
right.
to do, but I also don't know the answer to any of these questions.
Sure. Yes, it was wild. And so she's questioning him about obviously saying he killed Sam,
Yeah.
and he starts asking for his medication before going to the precinct. He's like, I just need my medication. My brother's got my medication. I just need it because
He
he's
was like, "Can
trying
I?"
so hard to get rid of Norma.
Yeah. He was like, "Can I please just see my brother? Like I just don't want to be here."
Yeah. And she's like, we just have to go. He'll follow us. It's okay. And I was like, I don't think you understand, lady. That's not how it works.
No.
And then Dylan, being, Dylan, is trying to protect him still. And like they go to leave and he just like chases him outside. He's like, he's got to take his medication. He's got to do this. He's like, Norman, don't talk to anyone. I'm going to get you an attorney. Like, blah, blah, blah,
Yeah.
blah.
Yeah.
And
I was like, "Why is Dylan
and
so
Norman's
good?"
just ignoring him, like
Yeah.
absolutely ignoring him. And then we hit the credits. And when we come back, we are at the precinct. And Sheriff Green is interrogating Norman about driving Sam's body away. And she's like, how long did it take you? How many miles did you go? Where was the exact like pattern? And she just like doesn't believe.
Yeah.
And I was like,
The
Sheriff.
Okay, that made me angry because
Mhm.
he's like, I don't know, but I know I did this and I know I remember this and I don't know all the details. And he's like, but I wasn't on my medication and I don't know what's going on. And she is thinks like I was like, this sheriff has clearly never learned a fucking thing about mental health because
Sure.
nothing that she was saying made any sense to what he was saying. Like if somebody was saying the things to me that he was saying, I would be like, I need to get the precinct psychologist in the room. Like you don't just I mean
Literally.
and I get that like it's a small town. She's like a sheriff, not like a chief of police. Like they might not even have a psychologist on staff, but like the way she was aggressive, I was like, I don't like her. And like I didn't like her to begin with, but also I was mad.
Agreed. And like the thing is, like, you want to get as much information as you can from them. So you should just listen to their full story and let them keep going. Like, because now you're just not getting what you information you already need because you're denying that it happened. And so terrible thing. Um, but then she tells him that the bodies that were discovered, there was Jim Blackwell and an unidentified woman. And she says, "Did you kill them?" And he says, "It's possible."
He's like, maybe. I don't know. I don't know
And she's
anything
like, "What do you
anymore.
mean?" And he's like, "I don't know because I'm not always here."
Yeah.
Like, it's possible that I did this. He's like, but also it doesn't matter because I do know I killed Sam Loomis, and that's
Right.
what we're here
He's like,
for.
maybe I killed one person, maybe I killed four people, maybe I killed 50. I don't know, but I know I killed one, and that's still something I should be
Right.
punished for. Like, I don't know why we're continuing this.
And she just keeps telling him he's making it up. I'm like, why? You
She's like,
said.
I think that you are just a lonely, sad child who wants attention. And I was like, no, no, no. Lonely, sad children who want attention, like set like set people's set bags of poop on fire on people's porches. Like they don't murder people and dump them in the woods.
Right, right. And but yeah. And unfortunately, this is the beginning of episode 8 and not the end of episode 10. So this
Clearly
will
it's not
probably
gonna
not be how it
go
goes.
right.
Not gonna go well for us at least. And then as soon as she leaves him in the like waiting area, Norma comes back and just starts like attacking him. She's like making him throw up his medicine that he took, and she's like beating him against the like wall and against the toilet, and like it's so wild. And she's like, "I
And
can't fix this with
it's
you here," and just
and it's
knocks him out.
And it's awful to know that he's doing it to himself. Like
Yeah,
to imagine someone bashing their own face against a ceramic toilet in order to like dispel what head is in their like what brain is in their head. Like that is
yep,
awful.
not great. Great, not great is the word I would use. Um, and then we go to Dylan, who's at a diner, and he's meeting with some woman who is a contact he got from Remo. And he tells her,
Ugh,
he's like,
Remo.
I know. He's like, Remo always told me if I ever got in trouble to call you. And
Yeah.
she's like, oh, how is he? He's like, I have no idea. I was like, oh, okay,
Yeah.
great. And but we learned that she's an attorney, and sorry, Sadie like fell off the couch backwards. Um, yeah, so she finds out she's an attorney, and he's like, I really need your help. Norman's kind of going crazy. He might have killed some other people. There's like people have gone missing. He tells her about him and his mom.
Yeah,
And
and
then
he's like, my brother needs help. He's crazy, but he's not a criminal. I go, no, 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 he is crazy
and a
and he is a
criminal.
criminal. No,
Right.
those are both true. Sorry.
These are both true things, right? And then he also is like, he just needs to go in a mental hospital. He doesn't need to go to jail because that's not where he's gonna find help. And then we go back to the precinct and Norma is like fully back.
Hmm.
And she starts saying like he's just off his meds. Like she's like, I'm just off my meds. That's why I'm acting crazy. Like I know what's going on now. I was making stuff up. Like it's insane. It's not true. It's not me. Now that I'm on my meds, I I didn't kill anyone.
Right. And
And
Norman via Norma or whatever is like,
mhm.
I know my rights. I don't have to be here. I can just walk out the door.
And Sheriff Green did the only smart thing that she's done so far. And she's like, great, you're arrested.
Yeah. He was
She's
like,
like,
you're not pressing charges. She goes, watch me.
right.
I was like, fuck yeah, Sheriff. Like, I don't like her, but I don't like her because I don't like how she treats Norman. But in this moment, Norman wasn't Norman. And I did like somebody telling fake crazy Norma version of Norman to just fuck right off. Like I was okay
Right.
with that.
And it was like necessary because you couldn't let him go into the wild
Right.
killing people. My
Absolutely
goodness.
not.
So, um, so he gets arrested, and we go to Chick,
It's like
who
I
we
knew
haven't
Chick was
seen.
gonna come back.
So this is where we start getting our resolutions a little bit more untangled.
Yes.
And so Chick pulls up to the motel, and there's police tape everywhere.
He just is
And
like, oh shit.
yeah, so he gets out, and he's like, "What's going on?" And he like still pulls the like bag out of his car, like he's going inside. They're like,
Yeah.
"This is a crime scene," and he's like, "I have business with the owner," and they're like, "This is a crime scene." Like they're
And
like,
he's
"I
like,
don't think you
okay.
understand."
He was like, but I can still talk to him though, right? He's not dead.
Yeah, and then he's
And
like, "Is he dead?" He's not dead. And then
and
she's
like
just like, finally, she's like, "No, he's not dead."
he
He's
was like,
like,
oh thank God.
"I know." And then she's like, "What's the bag? What's in the bag?" And he's like, pulls out a dead raccoon. And I was like, "This is the most like unsettling man."
You love
I don't.
him.
And
I,
it's
but
so.
I literally wrote Chick doesn't make any damn sense to me. Like I
No.
from that scene could not to this day, like I could not from that scene still figure out what his motivation was because he was genuinely relieved that Norman was not dead.
Right.
Like genuinely. But also
Well, he thinks he's gonna make
not
a lot of money off of him.
right, but also he would still make money if Norman was dead. Like he would still be able to write the story. He has the story now. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
so
Well,
he
now
like dug.
he's doing the taxidermy business. Remember, he's bringing in the dead animals.
Right, right. But I mean, the book is going to make him more money than the taxidermy ever would
Sure.
anyway.
Sure. Yeah.
Like, so he's still going to make money off of Norman whether he's dead or alive. But like, there was just like a true, like, genuine, like, concern for him as a person because Chick is an opportunist, but also not soulless. And so, like, he is very confusing.
He is very confusing. And he also like when the police starts asking, she's like, "What's your name?" He tells her everything.
Yeah.
Everything is true that he says.
Yeah, he's like,
And I
my
was
name's
like,
Charles Hogan. People call me Chick. I have a business with him. I bring him animals for him to do taxidermy with. Like, he doesn't lie or hide anything because, to be fair, what does he have to hide in that situation?
he doesn't, but also I'm like, that is a lot of information you were just saying that wasn't asked for. Like some of it was asked for and you gave it, but like you also were just like very specific about everything.
I
So
loved it. I was here for it because I was like, he knows that he has nothing to worry about,
I
which
mean,
is maybe weird because, like, he has participated in death. So, like,
right.
but
He's like
who's going to
got a
go
lot
looking
of
for Caleb?
reasons. True. True. But we go back to the precinct and attorney Julia shows up and he like loses it. She's like, "Your brother hired me, this and that." And he says, "I just want to make one thing very clear. If we're gonna work together, you're working for me, not Phil."
And he's like, I
And
am
she's
not
like,
going into a mental institution.
"Yeah." And she's like, "Great, I work for you. We
Right.
got to figure this out." And he's like, she's like, "How are we gonna do it?" She's like, "It's really tricky because you've already admitted to murder." And then she's like, "Of course, we're gonna play up the like
Yeah.
mental health issues, but also it would be easier if we could find another source."
Well, no,
And
but
so it's
she also says best case scenario, they go searching wherever you told them and there's not a body and we can just pull
right,
full psychotic episode. But if there is a body, we need to find another like murder,
target.
like another suspect. We need to pin it
Yeah.
on somebody else.
So I was like, great. Who are they gonna try and pin it on? And we don't know yet because
But of course we do know because who do you ever pin murder on? The spouse, always.
every time. And so we go back to Dylan, who is like just so plus his heart so upset.
Yeah.
He calls Emma. He's tells her he's checked into the King's Motel and tells her about Norman being in the hospital. And he's like, "I'm so sorry, but I tell you, I hired for a lawyer and she's not cheap." And Emma's like,
Mm-hmm.
"Everything is okay." She's like,
Yes.
"We're going to figure it out." Like,
Right.
those are necessary things that you've done.
Correct.
And she's like, I'm worried about you, Dylan. And I was like, I'm also worried about you, Dylan. Like, yes, me too.
But
And
he said, no, it's fine. I will be just fine. And I go, that is foreshadowing that he will indeed not be fine.
not be fine. Right.
No,
Yeah. 100%.
no.
Um, and it starts back when we go to the precinct and we learn from the attorney that formal charges haven't been filed, which they should have been. And
Yeah.
she's like, so we're coming here of our own like cognizance now that he's on his medication and everything again to tell you what really happened. And remember that like we don't have to do this, it's all voluntary, yada yada. And
Gross.
so
Yeah.
Norman tells the web of lies he has weaved. He
I
says that he
said,
fell in love with Madeline, and he says that she came by with, and Sam was there, and they left together, but then she came back alone and says something happened to Sam and she thinks she killed him.
I just wrote, good God, this fucker is a storytelling genius because the way he is telling the story and the crying, and I was like, fuck, if I didn't know he was crazy, I might believe him.
Right? Like if I didn't know he was a psychopath, I would think that he was telling the truth.
Right.
Oh my gosh. Insane. And
But weirdly, the
he's
sheriff doesn't.
right,
Like
right. Which like it's not
she
true, but
she
also,
sees through that shit so fast.
yeah. But she doesn't believe the truth. Like she just doesn't
Yeah.
believe him ever.
Yeah.
Um,
Which, I mean, if there's anybody that you're gonna doubt every word that comes out of their mouth, he's a fair choice.
right. Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, I know what's happening. I still doubt everything that he says, whether I know it's
Right.
true or not.
Right.
Um, but the last thing that he says before we leave the precinct, he says, my mother did always say I was vulnerable around beautiful women. I was like, that's not cool. Okay, that's Icky Norman.
Gross.
Yeah. So naturally, the next thing to do is bring Madeline in.
Hmm.
And they tell her about Norman and his infatuation with her.
Hmm.
Um,
Well, and the thing
and
is, so Sheriff Green is like telling Madeline all the stuff about like, oh, like this is what was said, this is what we found, blah blah blah, and like you almost believe that Sheriff Green is 100% on Madeline's side, and she doesn't believe anything about
right.
Norman until she gets to the infatuation part, because then she goes, "Would he have any reason to feel that way?" And you're like,
And like, yes, but this isn't 100% Madeline's fault.
"No, it's not," but it corroborates his story in a way that you
I
really wish it
know.
didn't.
Yeah, and I think she knows that too, which is why she doesn't say anything. But then back to our fave convict detective, we go back to Alex, who is digging around Maggie's for his gun. And also, at this point, I was like, why have the police not looked at his sister's house for him? Like,
Right.
he's been there for a few days. Like, he's been there long
Yeah.
enough that, like,
He's been there long enough
that
that
would
he
be a
took
place they
a
go.
full antibiotic treatment and got himself back together.
Right. And, like, he's been gone long enough that, like, that's definitely a place they should check. Like, where else is he going to go? He doesn't have any other family.
Well, here's the thing, is this is my other question. Is Maggie actually his sister, or was she just his neighbor at his old house before it burned
Oh, I thought
down?
she was his
I
sister.
thought he was a sister too, but the more I was thinking about it, I realized, was Maggie actually his sister, or was she just the one who like told him that his house was on fire, like who lived next to him?
Well, let's see if IMDb has a last name for her, but she's not married, so she would still be
Right.
Romero. If not,
Because she's also not
oh,
very Hispanic looking.
She's Maggie Summers. No, she must have been his neighbor.
She's Keith's wife.
Oh, that's right.
That's right. She's Keith's wife that he went to at the beginning when Keith was missing.
Yes.
Or is she Keith? No, she's Keith's sister That's who
Oh yeah, yeah,
she's,
yeah.
yeah, yeah, that's how the sister
That's
part
why
comes
the
in.
sister part.
That's where the sister part comes in. She was Keith's sister, and Keith was beating her, and so he was mad at her for not helping him find Keith after Norma killed
Right.
Keith in episode like 2.
Yes. Very
But
funny.
that would explain why there's not a solid enough connection for them to look for him
It
there.
does. Yeah, it does. All right, everything makes more sense now.
Yes, because I knew the word sister had something to do with it,
Right.
but I was like, she doesn't look Hispanic.
No, she doesn't. And like, yeah, but they had the
She's
connection. Like,
she's
if they were siblings.
right, but no, she's Keith's sister.
Yes, correct. So we go back to the sheriff who is outside and receives some new news. And she immediately turns back around and puts Norman in the interrogation room and just leaves him there.
I was like, Lord, what did they find now?
Right? Like, what's left? What else is left that we have to find? And
I mean,
then
I know what it is that they find,
sure, sure.
but at that moment, I was like,
Um,
what else could there be?
right. And then Madeline, we see her leaving and she goes outside and she calls Sam and she's like, please answer. People are looking for you. She's like, you at least owe me that. And as she turns around, we see Norman giving her the most like evil
The
stare I've ever seen.
creepiest shit I've ever seen in my life. I was
And
uncomfy.
yeah, and she knows Sam is dead then.
Oh
She's
yeah.
like, oh, this is done. This is how this happened.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then we go to Dylan, and the sheriff visits him at the hotel, and he's like, what's happening? Is something happening with Norma? What is going on? And she's like,
Yeah.
well, this is unrelated, mostly. It's very related.
Sort of.
Right. It's actually very related. They just don't know yet.
Yeah.
So she tells him that the other body was identified as Audrey Ellis, Emma's mom. And
And she's like, I just wanted to like let you know so that you could be the one to tell your wife. And Dylan calls her bullshit
not
so fast. He's like, no, you wanted to know, let me know to gauge my reaction because you think I'm gonna turn on Norman. Not gonna happen.
exactly. And she was like, well, sometimes it's better for families if you do this. And he's like, not a chance. He needs help, not a chance.
Yeah, but
And
also then I do realize that that is gonna put Dylan in the horrible situation of at the end of the day he does have to pick between his brother and his wife, and that's
sure
gonna
enough,
suck.
that's not going to go well. I imagine. And so we go back to Alex, and he's showing up at the Bates home, and we see him walking through the property. So creepy. And then he sees the police tape on the door and just pulls it off. He does
No,
not even care.
here's my problem with that. I said, okay, Alex, sure. Do you think you're gonna find him in the house if there's police tape on the door? Like, are you
I
gonna
think it,
set yourself up and wait for him to come home as if you wouldn't be escorted by police to do that? Like, if the police are involved in a house and you're on the run, why are you there? And I know that like blah blah blah, blinded by vengeance, I get it. But he's been so careful and deliberate in every step
well,
he's taken up until now.
I also wonder if he went in because he wanted to find something while Norman wasn't there. Like maybe he could find some evidence.
Maybe. Fair. Okay, that's fair. But I was like, it was so strange to me that he thought, like, I couldn't
Right.
imagine him thinking that that was where he was going to find Norman because he's
No,
been
yeah,
so careful.
right. And I think that once he got there and realized it was all taped up, that his next step was, I'm just going to go in the house while no one's there and do some
Right.
recon. And so he does. He goes and he starts walking around and he starts seeing Norma's ghost everywhere. Not in a Norman way, in like a grieving way.
Correct.
And he even sees the rug that he put her on when she died. And he sees her in white in the vanity because she is the only thing that gave him light in his life. And now she's dead. So
It's
that's fine.
tragic.
Yeah, he is like okay, no one has an easy story, but I feel like his is so like insanely tragic compared to everyone else's too. Like
Because it's just that no one, everyone he has ever loved has been taken from him by crazy men. Like, he's the opposite of Norman, like, in that sense. Like, Norman is protecting women. He has lost every woman because of somebody, like, some guy who is like Norman. Like, he lost his mom because of his dad, he lost Norma because of Norman. He I mean, I don't know that there's any other woman that he like loved in that way, but like,
yeah,
oh,
yeah, very tragic. Um, but we go back to the precinct, and Norman's just sitting at the interrogation table still, and it's still Norma.
oh my God.
And
The camera in that scene where it was in the room where with the TV, and on the TV you saw Norman sitting at the table, but in the window you saw Norma sitting at the table. That was one of my favorite shots of the entire show.
it was very good. Yeah. And we go back to Alex, who is lying in Norma's bed, and starts hearing Norman like murmuring. And he's like, this is strange. We start following the sound. And I put, oh God, Chick is in the basement.
It's like, why are you writing in the basement, you creep? Because we also
You
start hearing the
crazy person.
typewriter. Like, we hear the
Yeah.
typewriter, and I was like, Chick, what are you doing?
And he looks like he's like the king of taxidermy with his like animal draped around his like head and oh my gosh, insane. And then Chick like also he so Alex like, what are you doing? What is happening? And he's like telling Norman's crazy, and Chick like won't say he's crazy.
He's
I
like,
was like,
I know you're gonna tell me Norman's crazy, and I'm not saying he's not, but that word just gets thrown around so much. And their dialogue, I was like, this is my favorite pairing ever. Like, the two of them like bouncing back and forth, and he's like, who's the bad guy here? Nah, you're the one who's an ex-con. Like, yeah, sure, maybe he murdered some people, but like, it's interesting.
yeah.
And
And like Nor oh gosh, Alex tells Chick he's like he killed his mother, and he just says, and he loved her. And it's like that doesn't make it okay to kill someone. Like,
no,
don't think you understand.
he's like, yeah, he killed her, but also he loved her so much. Do you see the fascinating? And he's like, because Chick is every 30 something white girl listening to a true crime podcast. Like, let's be
Yes.
very honest.
Yes.
He's like, what did he say? He said the like most scintillating drama couldn't begin to replicate
Yeah.
and he's like literally just talking. He is every true crime bitch that there ever
Everyone.
was.
And he like finally Alex is like, what are you even doing down here? And he says this like nonsensical, like wavy words.
And
And
he's
he's
like, can
like,
you fucking
can you
talk in English?
he's like, can you say it like a normal person? He's like, I'm writing a book. And then he goes off, and
And
I
he
didn't
starts
even realize he said, I'm down here for my inspiration. I'm trying to find my muse. At first, I didn't realize that this was where Norma was set up at.
Yeah, he was like, don't you get it? Like, he built this palace for her. I wanted to know what it felt like to live like a queen, to be in that space.
Yeah. And he's like, he tells him that like Norman dug her up and he knew about it. Like,
And he was
but
like,
like,
yeah, her body was down here. And he was like, where is she now? He's like, I don't know. He had the foresight to get rid of it before the cops searched his place. Like, good for him.
and he's just going off and going off. And then finally, Alex just shoots him, doesn't say anything else. And I was like,
I I don't audibly react to to shows very much because I'm so focused on taking my notes. I had to pause it. I was like, because I literally out loud was like, no.
I laughed and I said, I would have shot him too because
I
he is too much.
I was overcome. I was overcome. I could not fathom how that was the correct response.
It no, 100% was the correct response. No, no notes. No
No, but
notes.
now who's gonna tell Dylan that his dad is dead?
Probably Norman. I'm sure Norman's gonna like fight with Dylan and throw it in there. But no, it was time. Then we go to the woods and they found the well, pulled the body out of it,
And I just wrote, and there's the body.
and there's the body. And we go back to the precinct, and the sheriff also charges Norman for the murder of Jim Blackwell and Audrey Ellis.
And he's like, he's like, I don't want to talk. And she just goes, oh, you don't have to. Drops the rest of the charges and walks back out. And I was like,
Yeah.
mic drop.
She's like, we don't need you right now.
No, no.
Yeah. So, couple of fun facts. This was Freddie Highmore's directorial debut. And if you noticed, you didn't because a lot was happening. But if you notice when Madeline is on the phone leaving the bathroom, the sign on the bathroom door is not gender specific. It's male, female, and the trans symbol.
I
And
did
I was like,
not notice that at all.
no, you didn't, because there were other crazy things happening. But
Correct.
that is nice that they're inclusive. Um, that's all. That's all my fun facts. Who did you want to punch in the face?
Well, if you listened to our Sci-Fi Sunday episode, you will know that I teased the fact that everyone was going to be absolutely floored by my choice. Because I'm going to punch Alex Romero in the face. Because
I was floored when you said that.
I cannot deal with the fact that he just shot Chick. I can't. Like, and I get it, Chick, but I've been fighting for Chick as the true chaotic neutral this whole time, and like I don't think Chick is a bad person. I think he's made some dumb choices, but I don't think he's a bad person. And Alex has so far only ever hurt people who fully deserved it, and I
And
just
also,
can't.
if you've been in jail for 2 years, you've escaped, you're going through woods, you're almost dying, you're getting shot, stabbed, like you're falling apart. You finally make it to where you're going to go, and you come to Chick and this mess that he's created in his head and him acting like a fool. I would have shot him too. I'm just saying, no question. I would have just lost my ever loving mind. That would have been the end of it for me. So, but fair, fine, fair.
I
You can
just
punch me.
I'm still shocked by it.
Um, so I want to punch the sheriff in the face. She
Fair.
didn't make as bad of choices overall as she has been. Because, Norman is still in lockup,
Yeah.
but just want to punch her in the face. You know,
Yeah.
I'm one of those people. So who's your MVP?
Dylan, because quite literally no one else did a good fucking thing
Everyone
this
else
whole
sucks.
episode.
Um, so this is gonna be upsetting, but since you since you picked Dylan and I can't pick Dylan, I will be choosing my MVP as Alex Romero for the fact that he shot Chick for being obnoxious.
Yeah. I don't know who you are.
I'm annoyed at Chick. And I feel like we finally got some balance there. I was so done. So done, bless. Um yeah, and that was the end. So we have 2 episodes left. We have a few more storylines to wrap up. Obviously, we gotta wrap up Alex.
Yeah.
We gotta wrap up Dylan and Emma. So and Madeline. I figure next episode we're gonna wrap up Madeline. I would imagine she's either gonna end up in jail or dead or something.
Yeah.
Um, because I think the last episode is gonna have to be it's gonna have to start with like I think we'll do more with Alex next episode too, but I think we're
Mm-hmm.
gonna start the last episode resolving Alex, and the very end of the show is gonna be Dylan and Emma being resolved. Um,
Fair. Fair enough.
And I think that's all that's left, right? Is there any other? Oh, and then Doc Edwards. Oh my God, he just like came out of
Like,
nowhere.
they just like dropped him.
Yeah, I bet we'll figure that one out in the next episode too. I bet that'll be not one of the last things.
Yeah.
You
Okay.
have some thoughts?
I don't. I think that you're right that those are the things that we need to wrap up. I do I do not think the show is going to end in a way that makes me happy. Like, I don't. I think that the whole point of the show has so far been to like be upsetting at every possible turn, and I think that we're not going to feel good when it's over.
Oh no, like I agree. By resolve, I don't mean everything's better. I mean it's answered.
Yeah.
I
No, that's
agree that it's
yeah.
not gonna be enjoyable emotionally.
I am still confident that Dylan can't die though.
Look, I will fight for Dylan to not die for the rest of my life.
Right. No, but I just don't see that. I
So,
don't see how in any universe that is the story that gets told. Like from where they've
yeah,
ended it at this point, I don't see how that is the story that gets told.
yeah, and that's totally fine. I also could agree with you on that. So, yeah,
I don't think Alex makes it to the last episode.
I don't think Alex makes it. Alex is gonna make it. I think he can make it to that last episode, but I think it's like the opening scene of the last episode would be him getting killed. Like
Yeah, I think that's gonna be
the
like I think it's gonna be the final moment
end.
of the final moment of the next episode. I think is gonna
Yeah,
be that.
that's fair. That's fair. Well, we will surely see. And stay tuned to come back for 2 more episodes, and then we will have our DNA awards and wrap up and
Yes.
our announcement of our next mini show.
Yeah.
So stay
Um,
tuned. You can
and
email us. Oh,
I
I
was gonna
forgot
say,
what you were going to
and
say.
no, I was gonna say, if because at the end of the Stargate episodes, I did little spoiler points for Bates, which is easier because we've watched the Bates episode. We have not yet watched the Stargate episode to give you a spoiler point, but I looked up what episode it was, and I'm very curious how you're gonna feel about it. That's my,
I feel like I will have strong feelings then.
I, it's just, it's a choice. Don't make me
Neither do
so
I.
concerned.
Yes, I'm so concerned now. Um, okay. That's fine. If you also are concerned or just like want to talk to us or whatever, you can email us deathandaliens@gmail.com. You can find us on all the social medias at Death and Aliens. You can find me at CE Cloud 13.
And you can follow me everywhere at EMKAY_superstar.
And we'll see you for Sci-Fi Sunday.
Bye.